Third part. Hey, and the hoarse voice asked in a low tone, are you sure you don't want to stop this? Now, I'm well aware you didn't come back because you were worried about them. You came to take care of that wounded monster, right? Still, this is getting serious. Why don't you stop him? From D, silence. After that, the hoarse voice continued in a disgusted tone. Don't tell me you want to see what the two of them can do. One's gonna end up dead. Hell, if things go badly, maybe both of them. Not so much as an eyebrow raised in that heavenly visage as it gazed at the man and woman squaring off. So beautiful and so cold. Is that what you are, D? However, the truth was made an eternal mystery by the sound of something slashing through the air. And not just one thing. It was the light whistle of innumerable things closing from above. A gleam danced out. Sparks flew, and a metallic clang traveled across the ice fields. All around the group, steel arrows struck the ground. And there had to be at least 50 of them. Who the hell is it? Cray said, looking ahead and to the right. The mountain folk, I'd say. Lilia was facing in the same direction. Set up the refuge. D instructed her. No, they'll ruin it. It cost me a fortune. As Lilia turned away in a snit, Vera shouted, We've got a child here. At the same time, there was the report of a rifle. And something hot scraped past the huntress's cheek. Everyone but D dove to the ground. That does it. Lilia reached for the folded refuge tucked through her belt, and there was no other option. Dee's right hand came up. In the same direction Lilia and Cray had looked, a succession of cries Dee alone could hear rang out. He'd thrown his rough wooden needles. More than 100 yards away, a number of red splotches spread on the snow. Not too shabby, Cray said, and when he turned there was a gleam in his eye. Had he known the weapons that had flown over 100 yards were light, slim needles of wood, he might have wet himself. A fresh gunshot made him turn his head once more. Sons of... They've got rifles. I can't see them. That's what the mountain folk around here are known for. They wear chameleon suits. Vera's words explained the mystery. Chameleon suits were clothing that mimics certain animals' ability to make their bodies blend in with the coloring of their surroundings. Just as black clothes let one meld with the darkness, these suits would make the wearer suddenly disappear from view. Moreover, they took away the perception of depth, making it impossible to spot them. In the endless expanse of white, a foe like this could close on their prey more easily than a snow panther, and then strike with their weapons. It was said that if they could maintain a certain distance, the outcome of the battle was 100% clear. Hey, get down! Dust shouted to the hunter. Leave him be, said Cray. He's a Dampier, Lilia added. Apparently, this was something that the two of them could agree upon. This exchange exposed the nature of the three people. One D bent down, shot zinged over his head. 3 of them. 6, all told. The hoarse voice whispered. A scouting party, said Lilia. Leave this to me. Quit it. You'd just piss yourself. A look burning with fierce flames of loathing speared Cray. You're going to regret saying that soon. Sorry, but the only thing I regret is being born into this sorry world. Knock it off. Dusk growled in a low voice, and then Lilia stood up. What? Someone gasped. Lilia herself. One step ahead of her, the figure in black dashed by, his right hand swinging around behind him, filling not only his own field of view with white, but Lilia's too. That slash of Dee's blade had thrown up a cloud of snow. While it allowed the hot lead to pass, the snow closed on the gunshots like a storm. No doubt the marksman had underestimated Dee's group. After all, it seemed impossible to pinpoint the shooters' location by the sound of their gunshots alone. Dee's needles had already slain 4 of them, and gunshots had rung out since. A white whirlwind arose in one section of the snowfield. Suddenly it changed to crimson, and 2 red figures fell without a word and writhed in the snow. No. The hoarse voice was directed at Lilia, who was beside Dee and had just made a swipe with her longsword. Fresh blood spattered across the snow. I won't have you grabbing all the glory. Perhaps the hoarse voice's cry was a reaction to her smile. At last, she had an opportunity to display her skill. Her smile said as much. And this woman, too, was a gorgeous warrior. Well, ready to admit I'm every bit as good as you are. She was greeted by Cray's sarcastic smirk. What's that supposed to mean? Cray gave a wordless jerk of his chin toward Dee, who was stripping a coat from a man's bloodied corpse. See, he struck his opponents in the head so that the chameleon suits could be used. You, on the other hand, had to be the showboat and cut them open from the base of the neck down to the lungs. A coat we could have used down the shitter. That's the kind of dumb move I'd expect from a woman. Now you've done it, you cheap little thug. A vortex of hatred radiated from every inch of Lilia, and Cray held a gleaming knife in his right hand. However, the showdown between the incompatible compatriots was unavoidably interrupted by a grave masculine voice. Stop. When the scouting party doesn't return, it won't be long before more mountain folk come. And this is no time for squabbling among ourselves. Look. Their eyes nearly popped out of their heads as they followed Dust's gaze, colored first by amazement, and then anger. Carrying an essentially undamaged chameleon suit and a rifle over one shoulder, Dee had started walking toward the ridge. That bastard's just doing his own thing. Cray's tone was neutral, his anger having passed. Let's go, Dust called to Vera and Lurie, stepping forward with solemn strides. Ah, hell. Next time, then. Cray spat, following after them. Damn it all, Lilia said, and she was just about to press forward when Dust and Vera turned to face her. There's another set of gear. Oh, the refuge, she said. Lilia halted, and with seeming trepidation she began to turn her face to the left. The black dome of the refuge she set up at Dee and Vera's request loomed on the snowfield. Folding it up was quick enough. With a glum expression, Lilia followed the group with her gaze, watching as they walked away without a backward glance, and then, with resignation, bending over the corpse of a fallen bandit. Page break. Just beyond that ridge. They say that's the area where Gilzen's castle was. You should consider this whole region a danger zone. Now, make that hell. Those behind you would be better off turning back if they still can. Or is it too late? It's too late. Dee replied as he advanced, steadily planting one foot after the other but doing it so lightly he didn't leave a single track. Although this young man wasn't the kind to care about the life or death of others, even for him the reply surpassed coldness and entered the spectrum of cruelty. And the group following him was a good 500 yards back, and he was now about halfway up the 500-foot-high ridge of rock. Suddenly he halted, his right foot barely pressed against the snow.
"Step on a mine?"
His left hand asked drowsily.
"Put any more pressure on it and it'll blow up. Back off, and you won't be able to get across. And you've got the others coming up behind you, so what are you going to do?"
And there was nothing helpful in the hoarse voice's somewhat mean-spirited inquiry. A heartbeat later, the figure in black soared into the air like a mystic bird, landing a few yards away, and then executing another leap. He came to rest on the snow some 50 yards distant.
"What the hell? Are you leaving the rest of them behind?"
As if in response to the hoarse voice's sullen tone, the ridge collapsed. Two of the places these feet had touched had been depressions in the ground. In each spot, the rock and snow gave way to a depth of 100 yards.
"They won't be able to follow you now. What are they supposed to do if the mountain folk show up? They're going to feign ignorance in that."
The hoarse voice cut out. And then, in a somewhat pensive tone, it added,
"You could do that, couldn't you? But it might not do any good."
The meaning of that last remark was unclear. Dee began to pick his way along the far side of the ridge. The mountain soaring before him appeared to quietly wait for the hunter. It was 30 minutes more before the group behind him reached the horrid remains of the ridge. Chapter 4, End.